Hello, all you fellow Dusty Dogs and travelers of the trail out there. My name is Dusty Yodi here for DIOD Gaming, and welcome back to Winds of Change. I finally have recovered from our roller coaster of emotions of last stream and a little bit of a break. I had a very, very busy weekend with the 4th. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, family-wise, fireworks-wise, dog-wise. So, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I had to get kind of sorted out. So I apologize for taking a bit of a break, in a sense, and not being coming back to this quickly. I do want to come back to it, but yeah, I just need to be like, I needed to calm the heck down. Um, yeah, and I have no idea what's coming up, so yeah, this is always a little bit scary for me. um, okay, so here we go. I make my way back to the bed and quickly collapse onto it. The weight of recent events weighs me down like a ton of bricks. At the end of the day, I didn't know who I could really trust. It's all. Oh, yeah. As a reminder, because I have also not played this for like a week, almost a week. I was going to say a week and a half. No, it's a little less than a week, but yeah. Sovi, whether driven by madness or actual redemption, came over and found us in Alarinthia. And then he revealed that there is a mole in the party. This is after already having to deal with a feint where uh, Ulrich made it look like he was about to kill Pro, and in order to make it look serious, essentially bashed our face in. So that's not fun. But then revealed that the moles themselves are actually Ulrich and Pro, who did that whole feint as a way of, well, deceiving whoever we have. Of deceiving whoever we actually, like, chose. So, yeah. It's a little, problematic, shall we say. Uh, the Ulrich, we've recently learned, is actually hundreds of years old. There was some warrior of ancient times who was called Ulrich. And at first he played it off like, oh, I'm actually just like an idiot. No, he actually was that, and part of his tendency as warrior was Grand Inquisitor of the Triumvirate. And Pro, more recently, actually was working with the Triumvirate and feeding them information, and actually is how they knew to attack in Act 3. So yeah, it's a bit problematic of a situation. But both of them have confessed. They say they've changed their ways. Pro in particular has a loyalty scene, so I don't know. Pro has a loyalty scene. Ulrich, I think, also is ready for a loyalty scene. So hopefully we can find a way to turn things around and not actually lose anybody yet. Although I will admit that was a very nice feint in the last session, making me think that I had actually lost Pro before putting him back in the party. That was a I'll admire the game for that one, but I still am rocked by it a little bit. So here we go. Ulrich Pro, two of our most trusted comrades, had dark secrets. It makes me wonder just what everyone else was hiding, even Valessa and Fortim. When we got back to Mazeo, I need to ensure their loyalty before we attacked Balteus. We couldn't embark on the biggest part of our journey with unresolved issues. Everybody needed to be in tip-top shape, not held down by anything at all. As big as Ulrich and Pro's secrets were, it's information we didn't have before. Information we could use against our enemy, and against Balteus. We were too close to our goal to fall apart due to internal politics. I drift off to sleep and make my way to the deck in the morning. It's time for everybody to know about Sovi. Then we'd have a final discussion about what comes next. We were ready to launch our attack. What should we do? Good, it's not going to do the fucking rousing tune. I was afraid it would. Everybody is standing there as if they were waiting for me to arrive. They all exchange glances with Sovi, and unease fills the air. I don't blame them for being reserved right now, not at all. They all turn to face me, so that's when I hand the floor to Sovi. If he wanted to help us out, he had to win over my entire crew. The choice was with me, but all of their input was important. All of us gather around in a sort of circle. This means he can easily address all of us. I'm curious as to what he has to say. A lot is on the line.
My name is Sovi. I am, or was, the Grand Inquisitor. I no longer serve the Triumvirate. I was betrayed by my apprentice. He sold me out, forcing my masters to place me in exile. They threw me away.
Oh yeah, one other thing, again, I'm mostly reminding myself of this because there's a lot of fucking information right now. Sovi's apprentice, Halen, is actually a construct of the Triumvirate, who actually used the blade to create Halen. So yeah, Halen is like blind loyalty to the Triumvirate. So Sovi had a gambit where he was gonna like play off his recent little his failure to kill me and retrieve the sword in the Rebel HQ, but Halen wasn't gonna let that slide because he's blind loyalty to the Triumvirate. So yeah.
Everything they ever told me was a lie. I thought they were Alestia's rightful rulers, but then I figured out that this wasn't true. The heir to the throne is the monarch. I am a victim of their tyranny, just as you are, all of you. I hope you understand. I'm still at a loss. I don't really know what to do with myself, but coming here to meet with you and the monarch seemed like a good idea. Last night, I also revealed some information that could help your upcoming attack. I just need to know that I belong somewhere. Attacking the Triumvirate will involve taking down Halen. We share a common purpose, at least until he's taken care of. After that, I really don't know. I've always pledged my loyalty to the rightful ruler of Alestia. Logic would dictate that I now serve the monarch. But I don't know. The Triumvirate can throw people away at the snap of a finger, but I'm not like that. What they did was hurt me almost beyond repair. I will help you attack Balteus and take down Halen. You have my word. But after that, I don't know what will happen. In that sense, I am both an asset and a liability. If you want me to leave, then that's what I'll do. When we get to Mazeo, you'll never see me again. That is, unless you want my help. I can offer valuable intel. It's a gamble for both you and me. I don't fully trust you either. But hopefully I've earned a sliver of trust with the monarch. If he vouches for me, then hopefully you will as well. That is all. My fate is in your hands. I have nothing more to say.
You see, there's still a few problems I personally have with him, because every once in a while he does that one where he's like, he has the sprite here where he's like leaning forward and his eyes are all aflame and like, you pulled that a couple of times during the last conversation, and I don't know how to feel if you're gonna keep using that. He crosses his arms, waiting for our reply. My comrades are all shocked and confused, save for Pro and Ulrich. I ask them to step forward one by one and offer their thoughts on this. For once, I have the grasp on an entire situation. That is how things should be. Like Sovi said, I was the rightful ruler. I couldn't have people being dishonest and plotting behind my back.
I honestly didn't expect this, but nothing has been normal lately. I'm willing to give Sovi a chance. I did the same thing with Grizz. His defection marked a turning point for our cause. A big one.
That is true. It technically is only because of Grizz. That one, we were able to make a deal with the pirates in the first place, and two, that our monarch was actually saved from the middle of the fighting, because Grizz came down and took everybody and yoinked us to the statue. Took me and Domik and yoinked us to the statue. So yeah, after Domik getting stabbed a bunch of times and me getting an arrow through the center of myself, yeah, it's only because of Grizz that we survived.
If he can help us out, then I think we need to accept it. And if he turns against us, then he's easily outnumbered. The potential benefits outweigh the potential risks.
See, he's also the strongest fighter, I guess, or one of the strongest fighters around, to the point where he can almost fight Ulrich to a standstill. Like, kind of wish you'd done this during Alestia, so you could, like, be like, hey, you have a little... Not Alestia, Alarenthia. Kind of wish we had you in Alarenthia to be like, hey, can you just... Prove it by fighting with us, on whichever side we choose.
This is clearly a trap. We request that you deny his assistance. He's alone now, but he won't be when we arrive in Baltius. If we give him information, he'll turn on us once we get there. Surely we aren't the only one who thinks this way. An alliance with our enemy mere days before our attack. It's too convenient. Sovi is playing us for a fool.
I'm with Hal on this one. We can't work with the enemy. This is the man that killed you and burned down Valinor in your vision. No, it was a trick, but the man is the same. He's a trained killer.
Again, you're coming off a little more fiery than I expected of you early on in this.
For that reason, I can't accept his offer. Fortin, you're with me, right?
I don't know, Valessa. I think everybody deserves a second chance. We all had that moment when we turned against the Triumvirate. Why is it so hard to believe that Sovi might have that moment? He worked so closely with them. He's seen their true nature. He has more knowledge on them than anybody else in our army. It makes sense that he'd come to the same realization as us.
See, the problem with that was he was pretty damn loyal up to a point. To a certain extent that it's actually covered more than half of our journey so far in this. So, the realization came about almost because of, I mean, the closest thing I can put to it is divine intervention.
I mean, sure, it took a while longer, but that's because he served them. When you remove the excuse of loyalty, it can become pretty clear. That's why he didn't fully realize things until they put him in exile.
Yeah, I'm with Fortem. Everybody deserves a second chance. We've all been there before. We've all made a wrong decision or two. There's no better way to make up for it than doing the right thing.
This is both interesting coming from Pro, but given what we learned from him last time. But yeah, no, he does seem like he really does regret it. So yeah.
Sovi isn't concerned with doing the right thing. He's a liar, plain and simple. There's no way we can trust him. He turned on us the moment we arrived in Balteas. That's a guarantee. Letting him close to us now would only enable him to gather information. If he knows our strategy, he can counter us with the Inquisition when we arrive. It's a death sentence, Monarch. Don't be foolish. We've come too far to risk this.
It seems like my comrades are divided, but with good reason. I was hoping for something more unanimous in any given direction. It was clear now that the pressure and final decision rested on my shoulders.
Well, Monarch?
We save? Okay, and we have a choice. And we have a viewer, so yeah, if you would like to lend your assistance in my choice, then you may go ahead and place it in the chat. We can either A, allow Sovi to assist the rebellion, or B, deny Sovi's offer and make him leave. Personally, I'm a little, like, conflicted, like myself. I probably would allow him to assist, but... Excuse me a moment. Drink coffee. Not even that I need it, it's just holdout from earlier today. Personally, I'm conflicted because the Parallel Chronicle showed him, like, really thinking things through. Oh, God. I don't know. Like, the Parallel Chronicle showed him, like, really thinking things through, but the first Parallel Chronicle with one of them was like, oh, crap, he seems like he's gone mad. So that's not a... Or he might go mad and he might be trying to be like, hey, I'm gonna go over to the... I'm gonna reprove my loyalty by being like, hey, I came here with the Monarch and the Blade, you see? So... He's given us information that we can use. Oh, I don't like this. I do not like this. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, mo. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did that. Like, okay, first of all, I have to ask. A lot of people doing it the way that I did. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Like, depending on the side you start in a decision of two, it's always going to be the opposite one. Like, if I start here, eeny, meeny, miny, like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, now it's this one. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, now it's this one. Like, it always is going to start and end on the opposite one. Why do people use that as a decision making? Because if you start with, you pick one, and it's always going to land you on the other one regardless. Or, especially if there's a choice of, like, two. I am probably going to hate myself, but it was a risk that I was willing to take for our cause. The information he could offer us would make us so much stronger. If we got suspicious of him before the attack, we could easily outnumber him. Alright. Did it affect our values at all? Did you have a... You know what? Screw it. I'm using the other way. Hold on a moment. Did something change? Okay, fine. We'll do it the other way because I'm like, I wasn't sure about it. I'm sorry. There was no way that I could take such a risk. If he turned against us, he could destroy our entire cause. It was too risky. Even if his exile was real, he'd be stuck with it.
Very well.
He takes a few steps back and rests against the edge of the boat. A few minutes later, after everything is said and done, we arrive in Mazeo. The docking process is short since our pirate allies are masters of the art. Dominic steps forward, filling the silence that overtook our ranks.
Well, this is it. We're ready to attack Balteus. Everything we've ever wanted is finally within our grasp. The voyage will take a day or two, so we can plan on the way. For now, we need to ensure that we leave no stone unturned. Visit with your loved ones, say your goodbyes, because this is it. Once we leave for Balteus, our fates are as good as sealed.
I feel kind of weird because that was the first time I've ever actually, like, changed an outcome decision, but I don't know. I couldn't sit what it didn't sit well with me. So yeah, I don't know if I could. His words are true, but fill the air with tension. The dawn of our final battle was here, and we needed to prepare. But planning the attack was easy. Our true task was accepting our possible death. This means saying goodbye and spending a final day or two with our friends. I should use this opportunity to make sure everybody is prepared for the final battle. As leader, it was my job to ensure that we were all up to the task, no matter what.
I don't think there's anything left to say. Finish up your business, and we'll set sail when the monarch demands it. Act under the assumption that you only have 1 or 2 days before departure. I don't want to rush anything as important as a goodbye, but every moment we waste is a moment for our enemy to prepare. I trust that we'll find a happy medium and embark without regret.
Everybody nods, agreeing with his words. I can't believe that the time was finally here. Until now, it seemed like a dream, out of reach. But it's right in front of me. This is it. Our journey was in its final hours. I tense up with worry. We make our way off the boat, embracing what little time we had left. Troop morale has risen 10%. Loyalty scenes are now available for the 6 main party members. Howl has a 4th heart-to-heart that is hidden in one of the previous areas. Loyalty scenes can be accessed by clicking on the character icon on the war table. Fast travel has now been unlocked, allowing easy navigation through Alestia. A new blue icon has appeared in the top left of areas. Click it to move to the world map. The world map allows for easy navigation between every other map in the game. The world map is also how you will launch your final attack on Balteus. Clicking the Balteus map icon will give you the choice of entering Act 5. However, it is best to do this only once you're satisfied with the content you've done. Okay. Move to the world map? Yes, because we are actually going to try... I think it's in Valenorth. So we're going to go to surrounding region. We're going to go to Valenorth Village. Because I have my assumption, based on chats from earlier, Howl's Hidden Heart-to-Heart is here. Oh, it's not. Okay, we're gonna have to just double check everything. Yes, I'm going even back here. My god, it's been quite a while. Main Street, not seeing anything. Town Square, nothing. Oh, I have another possible. Oh, wait. There was one I didn't check. Milus's. Nope. Oh, they're all pretty. Okay, so let's try East Crown. Here it is! I look off into the distance, already shivering at the extreme cold. I wanted to visit home one time before the end, and that included East Crown. We never got to find out what was there. I start to wonder if we ever will. Not that it's even important. It has nothing to do with our goal, our cause. It's just a mystery, one of many left unsolved. Hal approaches me from behind and looks into East Crown. He seems perplexed, like not even he really knows what's over there. It makes sense. I doubt the old monarchy had the ability to survive the cold.
We know this place.
He holds out his hand, feeling the harsh winds.
The fatal cold, death within an hour. No chance of survival. Not like Alarinthia's deserts. We let criminals handle their own end. A mercy. Because of this, it became a very mysterious place. We started to wonder what was out there, if anything. However, until now, we had no way of finding out.
Oh, right, you're a spirit body. You're basically a whole bunch of spirits in a body. You don't actually need anything for sustenance. Could you actually go and explore it? Until now?
This cold, we feel nothing. It wouldn't harm us to venture forward. Perhaps now is the time to solve this mystery. How fitting that we would be the first. A monument to death. An execution ground. Monarch, we would like to take a brief break.
How does he know for sure that he could survive? He may not feel anything, but the body could still freeze.
Unlikely. We would be shielded by our spirits. They may die, one by one, but we would endure. At the end of it, we would remain largely unchanged. Besides, we were not asking for permission. Do you not share the same curiosity as us?
Opening it up, because I do still see a viewer in chat. A, I don't need every answer, I'm fine with just moving on. Or B, you're right, it's something I've always wanted to know. If nobody chooses anything, I probably am going to go with B, because I still don't know how to retrieve the last book, and I half wonder if it's through Howl. It's like the one book that I haven't been able to find. I'm not seeing a response. I'm going to go ahead and check it.
We thought so, too. Something about great minds. Perhaps there will be nothing, or perhaps not. It is something we will never know until we try.
He takes a few steps forward and looks down at the ground.
Already, we can feel our power dwindling. The spirits inside come forth to keep us warm. We will hurry and return with minimal damage.
He starts walking away, powered by his curiosity. I guess he couldn't resist solving a mystery of the world. I don't blame him. He was also uniquely qualified to do so. But Eastcrown. Oh, just like how I'm the heir to the throne, I'm the only one. I guess he's just embracing his calling, much like I did. But Eastcrown. Would there even be anything in here? Again, since we don't have anybody, I will go ahead and just choose for myself here. I believe there's something important in Eastcrown because, once again, I think there's a book here that we haven't seen. There must be something important inside Eastcrown. It was too mysterious. There had to be something there. And now we'd finally find that out. It was rather exciting. I hold those thoughts in my mind until Howl returns. He shows no signs of wear and walks as strong as ever. It's hard to get a read on his face. There's no emotion on display.
We don't understand. For a while, there was nothing. But then, we saw something interesting.
I ask him to elaborate, my curiosity taking control.
Eastcrown is ice. There's no water anywhere. It doesn't make any sense. We saw our ship, crashed, broken, frozen among the ice. A ship sailing in ice. This is backwards. But we think that perhaps this is okay. Backwards, just like our thoughts.
Now he's lost me.
The future, or perhaps the past. This new outlook changes almost everything. Do not worry, Monarch. We were harmed in no way. As we said, spirits inside kept us warm. A self-sacrifice that helped us brave the cold. A noble end. We are lesser now, but only slightly, and it is an interesting feeling. What we saw in Eastcrown is of no real importance. However, it has conjured up a spark in our minds. A spark that we must discuss promptly in Mazio. There are some final matters to take care of before the end. Thanks for coming here, Monarch. If anything, it benefits us. I'm sorry if this wasn't what you expected, but that's not always a bad thing.
I nod, as long as he found some sort of benefit in his little trip. Before our final battle, everybody needed to be committed to the cause. One error, one slip-up could cost all of us our lives. We had to be resolute. But I wonder what he could want to talk about so suddenly. The future. Thinking backwards. Something was definitely bothering him. I'd have to do my duty as his leader to quell any worry before we launch our attack. Okay, and we now have Howl seen. And we still don't have the book. Oh, there it is. Oh my god, I finally found it. I notice a book on the ground, slightly covered in snow. I'm not sure why it's there, but I decided to take a look. Any information about Eastcrown would be helpful to us.
Hey, are you sure you should be taking that?
It was covered in snow, Fortin. Whoever owned it probably forgot about it already. Besides, it might contain some useful information.
I guess you're right. But at least put it back when you're done with it. I don't want to get in trouble if the owner does come looking.
Alright, you have a deal. So, Seer, what does it say?
Mysterious journal. This is it. I've finally done it. For the last 10 years, I've been training my body to handle East Crown's cold climate. At the start, I could barely make it a few feet without having to stop. But now, I can almost last an entire day before I need to back out. I know that the answers are now within reach. What purpose does East Crown serve? How much of Alestia is uncharted? I'm planning one final journey into these icy mountains, and I know I'll find the truth. I'll see off my wife and child tomorrow, and leave my journal by the entrance. Should I make it out of this alive, the following pages will be filled with wonders and revelations upon my return. We will finally understand. The rest of the pages are empty.
And so East Crown apparently shall remain a mystery. But we do finally have our final book, so yay! Alright, let's go to the world map, because now I gotta go to Mazeo, Rebel HQ. Because I believe we have some war tables. Yep, everybody actually has theirs now done. So let's go ahead and save before I embark on a mass of heart-to-hearts. Let's see. Let's start with Valessa. Valessa leads me through Mazeo to some sort of hidden cove area. There's a large ship, and it looks like some sort of dock, with no signs of life. Stashes of treasure lay about, and it's apparent that this place has been abandoned.
After we returned, I got talking to the pirates. You know, to pick up any information on our parents. It turns out, this is their base of operations. Their HQ.
Hello, Smooth. Welcome, welcome.
Kind of funny, isn't it? We both ended up having HQs in Mazeo. But, to be honest, that's where I'd like the similarities to end. The more I learn about them, the more I hate them.
Maybe the reason she's becoming more fiery over the course of this thing is because she's actually getting... like... yeah, the more she learns about her parents, the more she doesn't like, so the more fiery she gets.
They kept running off to Mazeo and left us in Saelus's hands. Now that I think about it, he raised us more than they ever did. I guess they were more interested in this life of piracy. It's awful.
Yeah, poor girl. She just keeps getting her ideals kind of broken.
I wanted to come here with you to face the truth. Our parents were bad people. There's no denying it. They wanted this to be their legacy, rather than us.
She starts to walk around the area, and I follow behind her.
Look at all this junk they valued more than us. Weapons, money, more money, and lame scrolls. Maps to some far-off treasure and riches, I'm sure.
Picking up a handful of coins, she throws them into the nearby water.
Sorry for going off like that. It just makes me really angry. We idolized them for so long, thinking the world lost good people. But to realize that maybe the world is better off without them? It's hard. Anyway, thanks for coming along with me. I just thought it would be good to do this together. I don't know how Fortin would handle it, if I'm honest.
She turns to face me with a hint of a smile on her face.
You know, I realized I'm different from all of these rebels. They've been living oppressed in the shadow of the Triumvirate. But it was never the Triumvirate that held me back. It was always myself. I wanted to be a person who can make my parents proud. I wanted to do what society demanded of me. I wanted to be perfect. But this was a real wake-up call. Nobody is perfect. We're all flawed at heart. To realize that and embrace it, I think that's all I needed to do. I feel like now I can be who I want, and not who other people want me to be. It feels like such a small thing, but a different perspective can change a lot, you know?
I nod.
Well then, wanna take a look around? If we can find anything to help us in Balteus, then it's not a total loss. I'm sure there's something around here that we can take along with us.
She starts rummaging through various crates and sacks. I do the same as her, but find nothing of note, except money. We could help after the war, but right now we needed something more.
Hey, look what I found.
She pulls out a pair of daggers and starts inspecting them.
I think I remember these. Back when I was a kid, I swear I saw them. That means they must have belonged to my parents. Or my mother, to be exact. Just an intuition, so I can't say for sure. But I'd be willing to bet that my hunch is correct. Did you find anything good, Monarch?
I shake my head. There wasn't anything of note. Aside from those daggers, none of it was helpful.
What do you say? Should I keep them? Might come in handy when we attack Balteus.
Well, that was a good question, actually. She came here to move on from her parents. Taking their stuff could just be a constant reminder. On the other hand, however, maybe she could make them her own. It was hard to tell whether or not this would help or hinder her in the future. With our final battle almost upon us, I'm afraid I couldn't afford a mistake. What should I tell her? Okay. Do we tell her to A, keep them, Valessa, make them your own, or B, leave them behind, you deserve to move on? We have a vote for keep. And since you're the other one in chat, that is what I will go ahead and choose.
Make them my own, huh? I think I like the sound of that.
She puts the daggers in the leather straps on her back. Returning with a smile, it seems like she's ready to head home.
Well, I guess now I need to focus on the important stuff. What kind of person do I want to be after this war is over? I'm no longer held back by anything, so I guess my dreams are the limit.
She takes a deep breath of relief as if a massive weight was now gone. I totally understand. This is a big deal for her. And for me as well.
Should we head back then? I guess you have other things to tend to. Truth be told, I needed this. Thank you.
With that, we're on our way out of the cove. She faced her past in that moment and came out ever stronger. I have no doubt that she'd continue to grow into an amazing woman. Before we leave for good, I turn back and look around once more. This is where our parents conducted most of their business. That means this is the closest I've been to them in decades. Goodbye. Alright, Valessa's loyalty scene done. I will go ahead and make a new save. Did that cause a jump in morale? That was a 10% jump in morale. Wow. Alright, Fortim. Fortim takes me back to Valenorth, and we look at the Grand Tree. It makes sense that he'd want to accomplish his lifelong dream before the final battle. With those metallic claws found in Mazeo, I think he could finally achieve what he wanted. And of course, he wanted me to achieve it with him. I'm grateful that he chose me, but I'm also a little worried. Is this really something I could pull off, even with those tools?
Well, I guess this is it. I can't leave for Balteus with any regrets. So I'm finally going to do it. I'll climb the Grand Tree.
My only regret is I still haven't figured out if you're a cat, rabbit, or a cabot. Still leaning towards cabot.
And with someone like you, no less. Think they'll talk about this in the history books? I mean, I don't think anybody else has done this before.
You're gonna be the first.
Here, you need to put these on like gloves. There's another pair that goes on your feet as well. After that, we just climb. We don't need to find footholds. Being able to create them ourselves? Now that's a good invention. I gotta give credit where credit is due. The Zayians know what they're doing. Don't tell anybody, though. These might very well be under the trade ban.
Yeah, if they're sharp enough, they could be almost qualified as weapons in a couple of cases. He gives me a quick wink. It's alright, though. I won't tell anybody.
It looks way taller than I remember. I'd try to give you some advice, but I don't have any. With those tools, this should be pretty easy. At least, I hope.
So now this begs the question, did Fortim actually get 2 sets?
Just don't fall, Monarch. I don't know if you could survive something like that. I've fallen from way shorter trees and been in pain for months.
You fucking breaking ribs trying to climb this shit? He sure is great at instilling confidence.
Well then, got everything ready? Let's find a good starting point and do this. But remember, it's a race, so no holding back. I want to make sure that we both give it our all. No regrets.
He enters a stance that implies he's ready to begin. I nod to let him know that I'm ready and assume the same stance. We make our way to the base of the grand tree and look up. This is the first time I realize how tall it actually is. Would we really be able to make it to the top? A doubt wells up within me, but I don't voice it.
I bet I'll be the first one there.
With that said, he digs his claws into the tree and starts to climb. I watch him for a few moments before replicating his actions to a T. After a few minutes of doing this, we're extremely far from the surface.
Scared of heights? Make sure not to look down. I, for one, love the view. This is part of why I do it.
I'm weird with heights. Like, I'm just getting back into the whole roller coaster thing. It used to be that I was sucked at it. It used to be that I was actually terrified a little bit of roller coasters, but I'm finally getting back into it. But I don't know. I still can't do one of those, giga coasters, 200 feet tall plus. Yeah, I can't do that. Actually, no, it's hyper coasters that are 200 feet. Giga is a new type they're fucking doing now that's 300 feet or more. Like, my god. And which is sad because I love watching ride POVs of stuff like Mako at SeaWorld, or I think it's SeaWorld Orlando, or Apollo's Chariot at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, but I could never ride something like that. Like right now, 150 feet seems to be like my max height, and even then, I probably would be more comfortable with like 120. For reference, I think Apollo's Chariot and Mako are both around 215-foot drops. Yeah, I couldn't do that. I barely got back to doing roller coasters with a Giant Dipper up in Santa Cruz, which is only like 70 feet. So yeah, not a roaring start back into it.
Hey, no fair! I was taking a breather. Didn't think you'd be the type to play dirty.
Hee hee. He laughs as we scale the tree at almost the same rate. I can't imagine doing this without these claw-like tools. In fact, they make this pretty easy. There's no risk of falling. It allows me to take a step back and admire Fortim's skill. He was climbing trees for his entire life without this kind of aid. I suddenly appreciate his every stumble and fall, his every bruise. As we get higher and higher, we start to get enveloped in a canopy of leaves. We aren't quite high enough that they've become red, but it's still an impressive sight. It blocks us from seeing the village below us, but it's beautiful to look at regardless. It really helps solidify just where we are. We're scaling the Grand Tree. Nobody has done this before. It's been his dream for decades now. However, due to his challenge, the competitive spirit starts appearing within me. At the rate we're going, I could very well beat him to the top. In fact, if it was a race, that would pretty much be the point. But this was still his dream, and he might deserve the moment. All right. Let him win or beat him to the top. And we have a vote for let him win, which actually was what I was saying. Like, that would be my personal choice, but yeah. I decide to intentionally throw my progress. Fortum deserves to win. I feel like it's only fair. As we get higher, we reach the blood leaves on high. When we reach the final stretch, I fake a small stumble. Nothing to put myself in danger, just enough to cause a slight delay. After Fortum has gotten far up enough, I get myself back on track. It's not much longer before we reach the top, but he's clearly victorious. He laughs as he sits on a massive branch, big enough to support both our weight. I follow him up there and sit beside him, taking a huge sigh of relief. We did it.
I can't believe we did it, Monarch. And of course, I had a feeling that I'd win. Never think you can rise above the master.
Just for that, I almost should have beaten you. Not really. He smiles and inches a bit closer toward me as we sit on the branch.
Look at that view. I know we can't see the village, but these leaves? I never thought I'd get to see them up close like this before. I've only ever seen them when they wilt and fall off. But being up here and seeing them fresh? Wow. I wish I could take some with me, but I know I can't.
He runs his hand through some of the blood leaves, clearly in awe.
You know, this doesn't feel like I thought it would. I thought it'd feel amazing, like I'd become a different person. But I feel just like I did before. I guess that's how things go, huh? Oh well, at least that's one more thing I can cross off my list. A bit anticlimactic, but I don't really know what I was expecting. Maybe it's like Eastcrown, just the allure of the unreachable.
He looks around the area one last time, admiring a view he may never see again.
Well, should we get back down to the surface? I don't want to waste much time up here. We're busy and all that. It means a lot to me that we could share this moment. I'll never forget it.
With that, he starts to climb back down. I follow after him and make our way to the surface. It feels weird to be down here after being so high up.
So, what's next on the agenda? You know what? Never mind. You do you. I'll be around if you need me for any reason at all.
He walks away with a big smile on his face. I guess a dream of his came true on that day. When we got to Balteus, he'd have no regrets. And there's Fortum. Alrighty. Saving again. Actually, wait, I'll save in this one. 50% morale. So 60, 70, 80. We'll be at 90 morale by the time we've gone through everybody. Okay, I'm going to save the 3 that I flirted with the most for last. So let's do Howl. Howl enters my quarters, carrying an aura of purpose with him. After Eastcrown, I know that something big had been on his mind. We were so close to the final battle. It was probably time for us to talk.
Monarch, we must speak with you. It's about our upcoming attack on Balteus. At least we think it is. Things have become complicated.
Complicated? What do you mean?
We may be walking into a trap. This may be all part of the Triumvirate's plan.
Plan? What plan?
Take their blade, feed it power, and then bring it back. This may be what they've wanted all along. We've seen it. Everything we've done has only made their weapon stronger.
Please tell me what you're thinking, Howl.
They let us steal their blade. They wanted it to happen. They knew we'd bring it here, feed it death, and tap into the idol. But not only that, we're bringing it right back to them, stronger than ever. You may think we are wrong, that this is just a foolish theory, but we must only look into the visions to realize the truth. That, combined with some of your actions, like clockwork.
This is something I should have waited to do for a while, but... Uh-oh. What do you mean by clockwork?
It's almost like sometimes you have no other choice. You say or do things that push us down a certain path, but more often than not, that path leads us to death. How convenient, then, that the blade feeds off of death. In your hands, it has gotten more powerful than ever before. But what force, what invisible hand, guides us down this path? It's quite simple, but we were always looking at it the wrong way. Venturing into Eastcrown and seeing that ship made us realize that, when we approached things from a different angle, it all made sense.
Perhaps you could start making sense to me, then?
We've been struggling with visions of these different pasts. They seem to come out of nowhere and complicate things. Until recently, we only had to process visions of the future.
He crosses his arms.
At least, that's what we thought.
I take a step forward, interested to see where he's going with this.
But now we realize we've never seen the future at all. It's impossible to see what has not yet been written, but it is easy to see what has already happened.
Now he's lost me.
These visions of different pasts aren't as out of place as we thought. You were told you had visions of the future, and chose to believe that fact. But they are not visions of the future. They, too, are simply different pasts.
What?
The key to all of this is the Blade of Exodus. It's a constant in every vision. But the power within it varies, even when it shouldn't. There are inconsistencies. Even if we have a vision of the same situation, the power inside the blade is different. The Triumvirate has some sort of dominion over time. That much is clear. They possess the ability to grant their subjects eternal life, like Ulrich and Sovi. We need to operate under the assumption that this ability can be used in other ways.
I want to point out this, because while it is a misspelling, that is how I'm going to hear him say it from now on, because the pronunciation actually almost made it fit. He eyes the blade on my back.
Mainly, in a way that could be used to strengthen the Blade of Exodus. They could create a cycle full of death and despair that we are unable to break. When the cycle reaches an end, they could revert time and gather that power all over again. The visions of the future you thought you were having, they aren't what you thought. We believe they are visions of cycles in the past. Perhaps cycles where we have perished. Did your visions of the future involve your death in any way? Think about this, Monarch.
Now that he mentioned they did, I was stabbed by Sovi in the vision that started all of this. And after touching the blade, my series of visions ended with me getting stabbed. That's odd. I tell him these stories and he smirks. It seems I'm only confirming his outlandish theories.
Those were visions of past cycles, Monarch. Cycles where we failed. When we look at it like this, these different pasts make perfect sense. We've been looking at them all wrong, that is, until just recently. It seems that we retain some prior knowledge from these cycles. Perhaps that is why we act in certain ways, as if we have no options. In the back of our mind, we're pushing ourselves in the same direction.
Cycles? Directions? Please explain.
We think the Triumvirate is manipulating time. They are doing this in order to make the blade even stronger. The occupation, the formation of the rebellion, and the attack in the tunnels. All of those casualties simply serve to give the blade more power. We have no doubt that many will perish when we assault Baltius as well. But when the time comes, they can simply make it happen all over again.
This is almost too much to comprehend.
It makes sense when you think about it. Especially with these tunnels. Those suits of armor knew exactly how to fortify this place for your army. They must have retained their knowledge and adapted each and every time. But only one question remains unanswered. Why? Why do they want to make this blade even stronger? What is their endgame? What do they desire?
If they're sociopaths, total power.
It is very possible that we are walking into a trap. That is, unless the blade has enough power to defeat them. Their plan, if it's as I expect, is a double-edged sword.
I think I know where you're going, but what do you mean?
An infinite cycle, created specifically to power the blade. There must be a cycle, a prime cycle, where we have the power to defeat them. A point where the blade is strong enough for us to win, but not yet strong enough for them. All we can do is hope that we've reached that cycle. The power in that blade is immense, but isn't enough. Hopefully you understand what we are trying to say.
He's trying to tell me that we're trapped in some sort of time loop. A loop that the Triumvirate fashioned in order to give the blade power. And not only that, but I never saw the future. Well, I only saw failed past endeavors. It's hard to believe, but death has definitely followed me and my allies. If their goal was to feed the blade with power, then they certainly have succeeded. But how far back does this cycle go? Could it reach as far back as the occupation? Wait a minute. Attack Mazeo, kill innocents, and incite a rebellion. Attack that rebellion, provoke them into attacking your home, and then destroy them. But that Hut Owl said, it almost does seem likely that we're walking into a trap. This can't be.
The reason we see these things is because of the energy within us. It makes us sensitive in a way that others are not. We are both special, but I don't think visions are the only benefit of this power. There is more. Perhaps you see a flash of events that are happening elsewhere. Perhaps you can relive a conversation that has already happened. These echoes of past cycles manifest themselves in many ways. But when we look at it this way, everything makes sense. Everything has an explanation, and nothing is left up in the air. The only question is, do you believe us? Do you think we are correct?
Okay, we have a choice. I don't know it's all too extravagant to be true, or B, I believe you, Howl, makes everything seem more clear. Given what we've seen, I'm inclined to say, inclined to believe him, but it's still a little weird. We do have a B, so let's go ahead and do that.
Good. We knew you would see the truth of things. This was an impossible matter to discuss with anybody else. We are special. And now we finally understand the reason why.
Excuse me. Coffee. He turns to leave, but tilts his head back to address me one more time. I guess he wanted to leave no stone unturned before our attack on Balteus.
The Triumvirate is up to something. That much is clear. If it aligns with our theory, at least you will be able to act. Getting caught off guard would damage us beyond repair. That is not something we want our monarch to endure. Be prepared for anything, for the enemy will stop at nothing. If you can do this, then perhaps our victory will be more likely.
With that said, he sees himself out of my room. That all came out of nowhere, and I'm not sure how to react. But one thing was clear. There was so much we didn't know. But would we learn the truth in Balteus? Or would we even make it that far? I don't know. I start to feel uneasy, even with all this new knowledge. Could we really have been fundamentally wrong about everything? As I go about my business, it's impossible to shake that thought out of my head. Alright, there is Howl. Savey, savey. We're getting close. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's start with Pro. Pro leads me to Mazeo's town square without saying much. I'm not sure what's going on, but he seems happier than usual. Things must be going well for him. I hope it's something good. After a while, he rests his back against a nearby house. Tapping his foot, it looks like he's waiting for something.
Okay, Monarch, you're not going to believe this. I got some information about my parents the other day. After pulling a few strings, I was able to set up a meeting.
That is actually a huge deal. I'm really happy for him.
As far as I know, it's just my dad. I think my mom was under the weather or something. But at this point, I'll take whatever I can get. I'm so excited! I'll finally get to ask him what happened. Do you think I have any brothers or sisters? Wait, don't answer that. I'll keep my hopes low.
He has a huge smile on his face, and I can understand why. This is something he's been looking forward to for his entire life. The ability to meet his parents and find out why they abandoned him.
I almost don't believe this is happening. For the last decade, I've had eyes and ears everywhere. People run around Mazeo gathering information for me to sell. I prefer to do all the work myself, but anything extra is a huge benefit. I'm good at selling, so they provide the info, and then we share the profit. When we got back from Alarentia, one of them had a bunch of stuff to share. And one of them was the one piece of information I've been waiting to hear. My parents were alive and living in Mazeo. all those years, and they were so close. I bought the information from him myself. I paid more than I have for anything else in my life. But you can't put a price on this kind of stuff, you know? My future and my heart is on the line. This is a big deal. I hope we don't have to wait too much longer. I'm nervous.
That much was made evident by his constant rambling. I press my back against the wall with him and we wait together. We talk about random subjects. Anything to pass the time for now. But after a while, finding topics to discuss becomes a little harder. That's not because our bond is weak, but because we've run out of topics. The time of the meeting approached and then faded away. Nobody arrived.
I guess he's running a bit late. It happens. I can't hold it against him.
He smiles, and it's an incredibly nervous smile. He knows deep down inside that his words may not be true. A couple more hours pass, but I don't abandon his side, not even once.
Any moment now.
After a while, we slump down and sit on the ground. His naive hope starts to dissipate into a harsh realization. But I can tell he doesn't want to admit it, so we continue to sit. As the sun sets, people start to retreat to their homes. I can tell that he's tired, and so am I. I close my eyes for a few moments. Wouldn't hurt to doze off for a little bit. I just need to make sure that I don't leave him. I awaken a while later, unsure of the time. But it's dark. It must be the dead of night. Pro snores softly, with his head resting on my shoulder. I know that in his slumber he doesn't have to face the facts. His dad never came. But why? Was he too afraid to follow through? Pro has a smile on his face. Uh-oh. Why is everything here frozen? I'm sorry, I have to double check my own thing, because I don't know. Whoop, that's, okay, yes. I just want to make sure, it's still running. I apologize, so. If I, do. Whoops, if I do, this. Okay, it's still running, but for some reason my, there we go. It took a long time for that to go, back on track. That was weird. I have, legitimately no idea what happened there. I'm glad it's still running, but yeah, there was just, a long time where it's, everything in the background froze. The game ran, but I was just hoping, oh god, I hope that means the stream didn't stop. Sorry about that. But he can't sleep forever. He needs to wake up and face this. Giving him a soft nudge, he wakes up. Then my heart is broken. He thinks I woke him up because his dad arrived. He looks around, ecstatic. But then he realizes it's just me and him. His ears fold back and he laughs, almost like he's not surprised. I knew that this would be hard for him to face, but he was abandoned again.
I guess I should have expected this.
He sighs and crosses his arms.
You know, I thought I'd give them the option. They could come meet me when they were ready and willing. Other than that, my only option was to just march into their home. Of course, my courtesy just ends up stabbing me in the back. He said he'd be here, Monarch. He said he would. And I trusted him!
He growls and punches the nearby wall in a fit of rage.
It's not fair!
He grunts in pain and stands there, panting. A few tears start to stream from his eyes.
Why don't they love me?
I step forward and wrap my arms around him. He starts crying more and rests his head against my body.
I just wanted a family. More than anything, I want to belong. It hurts so much that they don't want me. I want to know why they threw me away. It's all I've ever wanted to know. That's why I do what I do. I don't know if I can live the rest of my life without knowing the truth.
He starts to calm down and soon enough the tears fade. I can tell he's super conflicted. He really wants to meet his parents. But if they don't want to meet him, there's really nothing he can do. It was cruel to schedule a meeting and then not follow through. His dad must have gotten cold feet, or maybe his mother needed attention. Under the weather could have any number of meanings, not many of them good. Either way, it's evident that this pursuit of the truth is causing him more harm than not. If he wasn't meant to know the truth, then perhaps he should focus on moving forward. After all, he had a loving family in the rebellion. He would never abandon him like this.
I just don't know what I should do.
It's like the saddest decision I have to make so far. All right. A, let them go, Pro. You have a true family with the rebellion. Or B, keep pushing to learn the truth. If they won't come to you, then go to them. We have a vote. Let them go. I tell him to let go of his parents. He has a true family and all of his allies. Blood isn't what makes you family. It's love, acceptance, and understanding. If his parents wouldn't give him that, then perhaps he should be abandoning them.
Let them go?
He sees surprise, like nobody has suggested this to him before.
I know, you're right. I've tried, but it's really hard. What happened here today might change things, though. After everything I've tried, maybe this is the wake-up call I needed. Thanks, Monarch.
He smiles at me. I'm glad I could help him, even if it's only a little bit.
So, should we get going then? I guess you have a lot of things to do. Given that, I'm really glad that you came with me. I don't know how I would have handled this alone. Having you by my side, it makes me stronger. And if there's anything I need right now, it's strength.
With that, we start to walk away from the town square. It pained me to see him go through this. Nobody should feel abandoned. But at the end of the day, he had people like me to stand by his side and help. So no matter what happened, he'd never be alone. That poor guy has just gone through the ringer. Also, I think now his voice actor is probably... Pro's voice actor is probably my favorite of the bunch. I think I gotta say. Okay, let's go for Ulrich next. I stand alone in my room, swinging the blade from side to side. Everything feels different than it did back at the start of my journey. When I first touched the blade, I could barely even hold on to it. But now I'm starting to master it. I'm able to make it my own. However, just as I think that, the blade disappears from my hand. Ulrich laughs, and I turn around. I didn't even notice him come in.
Sorry, it's just an old prank I used to pull on Sylvie. I'd take the blade from him when he least expected it. I guess it has a time and place. Sorry if I startled you.
He swings the blade a few times before handing it back to me. I shake my head. He didn't startle me. It was actually kind of funny.
I came here because I assumed you wanted answers. Learning I was the Grand Inquisitor must have been a shock. I'm glad you have a clear head. You could tell that I've changed.
Wait, seriously? More props to him! Fuck it. I am actually legit clapping. Because Jesus Christ! To be able to go from Pro, who has heart-to-hearts that make me want to fucking cry, to Sovi, who in the earlier portions of the game was just the most manipulative, scheming, dark piece of shit. And woo! I mean, damn. That is fucking fantastic. I nod.
But you deserve to know what I was like before I changed. In order to hide from my past, I haven't exactly been honest. But I wasn't lying to you. It was more like I was lying to myself.
In a way, it sort of makes sense. I just decide to let him talk. He approaches me and sits down on the bed. I sit beside him.
There was a man named Ulrich in Alarinthian legend. He pledged to change the nation, just like I always have. The barbaric way of running things was too much for him to bear. A lot of the specific details have been lost to time, but it goes like this. He was young, and his parents wanted the same thing, so they fought for it. They died in the arena, and Ulrich couldn't handle it. He ran away from the nation. But he pledged to return one day, and change Alarinthia for good. The ideals passed on to him by his parents still live on to this day. That's likely what inspired Vivian to launch his own insurrection. Of course, the story that's handed down is never really the truth. To put it bluntly, I'm the same Ulrich. It's been so long, it's hard to believe. I'm sure you had your suspicions, so I just came here to confirm them for you.
You know, it's a lot less surprising hearing it straight from his mouth than it has been kind of piecing together the fact that all the stuff in Alarinthia. It actually is a bit hard to believe, but I let him continue.
My parents hated the way the nation was run. They passed that hatred down onto me as I grew up. But they got older. Before too long, they were decrepit. They could never change anything. So the burden was passed on to me, a rising star in the Colosseum. I never fought for leadership, just regular tournaments, but I never lost. One day, I guess the Triumvirate noticed how strong I was. They approached me. They told me that if I left Alarinthia behind, they'd train me. They'd give me the power to return one day and change everything. I was young and naive. I agreed without hesitation. I wanted to serve our gods. But before they accepted me, I had to prove that I was truly ready. Serving them would involve leaving everything behind. It'd be a fresh start. They devised a test for me, to make sure that I was truly ready to devote myself.
Uh-oh. He gulps, like he's afraid to tell me what happens next.
They made me kill my parents.
Oh. Hello, Avalon. Welcome, welcome. Came back in on a, you came in on a rather startling realization. He looks down at the floor.
In their eyes, it told them that I was truly ready to leave my old life behind. Because I was young and stupid, it made a twisted kind of sense in my head. I did what they told me to. But as they died, I told them I was making their dream a reality. I was caught and exiled into the desert. That's how I became a Sixer. I survived the trials, was branded with this tattoo, and showed my worth. Their test was over. They took me over to Balteus and made me their servant. I served them by weeding out insurrections and ensuring they remained in power. After what seemed like an eternity, they came up with the idea of giving me an apprentice. That's when I met Sobi. They preyed on his weakness and naivety much like they did mine. We worked together, traveling the world and killing the Triumvirate's enemies. Eventually I realized that they weren't good people. I defected and joined the rebellion. If the timeline seems confusing, it's because it is. We are talking about millennia here.
So exactly how much of history have you seen exactly? I guess the more appropriate way to put that was, exactly how much of history have you been a part of, exactly? He said, for millennia.
They gave us the gift of immortality. Well, they called it a gift. We would never succumb to old age, and mortal wounds would easily fade. I felt unstoppable, like I was the king of the world. Nothing could get in my way.
He shrugs, clearly embarrassed at admitting such a fact.
But after a while, I realized it was a curse. It's crazy how much your perspective can shift so fast. Taking the dream of immortality into real life, it became a nightmare.
With a slight scoff, he stands up and turns around to face me.
They knew what they were doing. They were creating slaves. Using that blade, they gave us what they deemed eternal life. I know we can use the blade too, but we can't reverse it. That should have been the first sign. I thought we did this willingly, but we really had no choice. It was all or nothing, an ultimatum, the biggest red flag. I've had this curse for far too long. It's made me a bad person. I no longer seek love, because everybody I love is just lost to time. I no longer seek happiness, because it's never permanent. Never. These fleeting emotions may mean a lot to you, but not me. It's an endless cycle of building myself up only to be cut back down. I thought I'd be like this until the world rotted away. Until I met you, that is.
He reaches out and holds my hands, squeezing them softly.
Someone who can use the blade. Someone who can lift the curse. And after all we've been through, even someone I can grow old with. Please use that blade and give me my life back. I don't want to belong to them. I think I want to belong to you.
I'm actually kind of giddy right now. I could remove the curse the Triumvirate put on him. That would be good, but then he'd be weak and vulnerable. No doubt the source of his strength is partly due to his immortality. If I could remove it, he could perish during our attack on Balteus, and easily. It'd be removing his biggest advantage, and I'm not sure what to do. He looks at me, awaiting my response. I don't know what to say next. What do I do? Go ahead and save over this one. Okay. What do we do? A, remove the curse from Ulrich, or B, keep him strong. He needs that power. Oh, why do you put me in such positions, game? Oh god, my initial choice is A, but oh god. We have a vote for remove. Smooth votes remove. Avalon, do you have a vote? Oh god, why? Why do they make me do these things? Okay, that's the only one we're getting, and okay, we'll remove. I tell him I'll remove the curse. His face lights up like His face lights up like I've never seen before. He takes a few steps forward and plants a soft kiss on.
Thank you so much.
I grab the blade and try to figure out what to do. One thing was for sure, he'd soon have his life back. He would have the freedom to grow old and finally find peace. And before he leaves my room, I make sure that his dream becomes a reality. Woo! Okay, we now have Ulrichs. Moving on to 6. I'm almost running out of save slots. Ah! No! Go back there, I didn't save. Alright, yeah, we now have 80. 80 morale, and we've gone through almost everybody except for Damek. Damek leads me to the town square of Mazeo. Because of our recent conversations, I know what's going on. He's taking me to the spot where he lost his mother during the occupation. It must be hard on him. I can see him shaking as we walk through the town. But if facing this painful memory helped him move on, it was my duty to assist him. In the coming storm, he'd need to be resolute. Helping him would help all of us.
I can't thank you enough for coming with me, Monarch. There's not many people I trust this much. I'm really glad I have you. Until today, I've only had dreams about doing this. But now, I'm strong enough. And honestly, it's all because of you. I give a little credit to my near-death experience, but not all of it. You've grown into a capable leader, and led us all down the right path.
The more I see of Damek, the more I can't tell if he's the more handsome one or Ulrich. He smiles, and I smile back at him. It was nice to receive some support after all we've been through. Being the Monarch wasn't very easy, but it's a weight I had to carry. We walk through the town square, taking back alleys for occasional shortcuts. After a while, we end up at a large open area. I'm surprised they haven't built shops here.
This is where town meetings are held. They don't happen very often, but they need a big open space. There's a lot of people in Mazeo, so everyone deserves a chance to attend.
I went ahead and denied him. I was a little conflicted. There was nobody else here, and I'm just like, I don't know. He felt like he was, like, evil. He was still, like, even when he was telling the information, it still felt like he was gloating and being the manipulative bastard, and I was basically just like, I don't know if I could. So I went ahead and I denied him. So soon after that, however, his tone becomes more serious.
A lot of bodies in one place. That's just what they needed during the occupation. This is where it happened, Monarch. The stuff with my mother.
Should have accepted him. He has really good scenes. I do have that saved, so maybe I'll go back through once this playthrough is done and actually, like, watch them when I'm done here. Probably off screen, because, yeah, I'm trying to keep it to one playthrough and then move on to something else, but yeah. It's fun playing it, though, so I absolutely am completely willing to go back and see, like, a whole bunch of those other choices that I would have picked and see how that changed things. I nod at him when we take steps closer to the center.
You may notice a crimson tint on the ground here. This is where they piled the bodies during the attack. So much blood. So much carnage. Permanently stained. Just like the memories in my head. As hard as I try, I can't just scrub those off either. Every other night I wake up in a cold sweat, crying.
My God, you really do have PTSD. I feel so bad for you right now.
I feel the lingering touch of her hand against mine. Then, the moment she goes away, it makes me feel empty inside. There's nothing left to feel, except all those corpses pressed against me. A warmth that slowly dissipates, leaving me cold and alone. I had to stay under them until things died down. Almost a whole day. The moment I could, I got out and took her pendant along with me. It's all I have to remember her by, but perhaps that's why I can't let it go. How can you move on from something when you remind yourself of it every day? Just the thought, of course. But after all I've been through, at least it's a thought with merit.
He holds up his hand and shows me the pendant he's holding. I've seen that a few times now. He seems to carry it with him everywhere. Of course, as he suggested, that also means he carries the memory along as well.
Let's keep moving. I'll show you exactly where it happened. Just stay close to me, okay? This is hard.
I nod and start to follow him as we venture deeper into the open area. A podium rests at the center, likely where they hold these meetings from. Soon I picture what this place would look like during the occupation. I cringe. After a while, Domek stops dead in his tracks and looks down at the ground. His body language and reaction tells me that this is exactly where his trauma happened. I position myself right beside him and wait for him to speak. I couldn't rush him now.
Well, this is it.
He clutches the pendant close to his chest.
Would you sit with me, Monarch? We might be here for a while after all.
He sits down on the ground, attracting stares from a few passers-by. I join him, caring more for his well-being than the judgment of those around us. Looking down on the ground, he places the pendant down, moves it around slightly.
It was right here, I think. You never really forget, you know. I hope it's not weird to sit here with me.
I shake my head and let him do what he needs to do.
Coming here to face what happened, I needed to do this. But now I'm not sure what to do next. I mean, with the pendant. Do I leave it behind? Just like my memories, or do I hold on?
That was a good question, and I can tell it's bothering him.
I'm sure someone will just come around and steal it anyway. But maybe that's for the best. It can be somebody else's burden. I think I've grown tired of carrying it around for my entire life. However, I also don't want to regret doing this. I could be acting rashly in the face of our final battle. It wouldn't be the first time somebody has done that, you know.
I nod and let him speak.
Look at me. The world is at stake, and I'm worried about this. You know what? With everything you've done for us, I trust you. What do you think I should do, Monarch? Take it or leave it? Besides, I'm a bit biased here in almost every regard. Your head is more clear than mine, so it's worth a shot. What do you think I should do here? What's the right choice?
Saving. Okay. A. Keep it, honor her memory and her life, or B. Leave it and move on from these painful memories. Vote for leave it. Begin again, but no one to let go. Is that a B as well? A thought struck me. A thought struck me. That's it's a bit of a recurring theme for this game, isn't it? At least with a lot of these character arcs. Previous commitments and Fallout New Vegas. I have played that, but I don't think I got that far. But yeah, it's like the character arcs seem to have that as a recurring thing. Of people who kind of like have perceptions in their mind, but yeah, no, I didn't have any of the DLCs. I had only the standard version. So, but yeah, so all these characters in some way or another have had like stuff holding them, not stuff holding them back, I won't say that, but like vision perceptions of their own that they've been holding on for a while. And it's giving everybody a fresh, the main point of the heart to heart and the loyalty scenes almost just like giving them a fresh start, and a way to kind of break those. The best way I can say it is how is attempting to break the cycles of pain. Like giving Pro the opportunity to realize that he has a family, just not a family of blood, but one of friendship and camaraderie. Of Ulrich, of giving him a second chance after his time spent as an eternal servant of the Triumvirate. Valessa, even, of being thinking about her parents and stuff like that, and realizing that the parents might not have been great people, but that she might have a chance to actually like turn things around and live a life that's decent. And even Howl, is his revelation that things come in a cycle is like, hey, maybe there's a point where we could. So I guess we do have 2 votes for leave it, based on the yes, so yeah.
You're right. I think this is something I need to do. It'll be hard, but I need to move on. I can't hold myself back. We're fighting to liberate our world and push forward, right? It's a bit hypocritical for me to do the opposite to myself. I hope whoever picks it up goes on to take good care of it. It means a lot to me, and I hope it can do that for others too.
He places his hand on the pendant, touching it one last time.
It's time for me to let go, Mother. This was always yours. I was just holding on to it for a while. I'll miss you always, but your sacrifice for me will never be forgotten.
He smiles and lets go of the pendant. It shimmers in the sun. We both stand up and turn back in the direction we came from.
Well then, should we get going?
I nod, and we start walking back the way we came. But Dominic looked much happier and content than he did earlier. Perhaps the events of today would give him a clear mind in the future. As our final battle was imminent, we would find out sooner rather than later. Okay. So, that is all of the loyalty scenes. I'm going to go to the... Actually, you know what? No, let's go back to... Museo. It was the main entrance. Renier, Troubled Antlers. Okay, views on New Life is a choice-dependent one, which means I probably got blocked off from it. Romance. Does that mean I'm gonna miss one here? Was it this one? That was the one I already went to. This is the one. Okay. Okay, so I got everything here. I got everything here. Okay, so that's all of the stuff from there. So I do have to question, did I just, like, not... Let's go to Museo City. Did I just, like... totally miss out on, like, a romance option because I haven't actually, like, given enough people things, or does that happen later? Actually, no, not world map. Region out. Peregrino. Nope, nothing here. Solberg? No. Forest? No. Okay, I already checked there, so it'll be world map, Museo, city, main gate, pass, no, tavern, no, mayor's house. Very much surprised that I can. But, yeah, nothing. Ducks. Nothing. Church of Museo. Due to relationship with due to relationship value I had with Ulrich. Like, I'm curious, because, yeah, I don't know. Whoops, no. Go to this thing. Yes. Can I really go back to Alarenthia and, like, do shit here? Holy crap. Just realized there's a whole lot of shit over here. Alarenthia was a huge area in comparison to some of these other ones. Excuse me. Rebel HQ, just to make sure. Personal quarters? Yeah, I knew there'd be nothing here, but yeah. Okay, so... I mean, unless I seriously forgot anything, we're technically ready for the final assault on Balteas. But I think I almost want to do, I don't know how long it's going to take. I might do, like, depending on how long it takes for us to go through certain portions, I may just say we have a mega episode on tomorrow and see how that goes. Not tomorrow, on Friday, and see how that goes. Because we're getting close. We're getting close. Because how long am I here? We're at 22 hours. So we're close to the end. This is only supposed to be like... Most people have been completing this in about 20 to 21 hours. So I'm a little over. But I think that's mostly because I've been leaving up a little bit up to chance and who's here. And reading everything and going back through all the stuff. So yeah, we're close. It could be that this is the final segment of the game. So it could be that our last session will be on Friday. But for right now, I think that is where I'm going to end it. Because those heart-to-hearts actually ended up taking quite a while. The loyalty scenes. Also, so once again, I had to give some serious props to Pro's voice actor, because once again, because of the information of Sovi, them voicing the same guy, being voiced by the same guy, because Jesus Christ, that was fantastic work by them. I also have to give praise to Domic's voice actor, because Jesus Christ, with those two, Pro and Domic, I am just about on the verge of fucking crying, because Jesus Christ. Oh, the emotions. I feel like that one gif, I am in a glass case of emotion. Like, my God, like, Jesus. Okay, so yeah. We have inspired everybody's loyalty. We are at 90% morality. We have gotten all of the heart-to-heart conversations. So we'll see what happens as we make the final assault on Bataeus next time on Friday. So until then, thank you all so much for watching. And until we meet again on these dusty trails, have a howling good day. Take care.